Hello everybody and welcome back to Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep Final Mix playthrough. It is time for us to continue our delightful trip through the mini-games of Disney Town. This time we're heading straight on to the Disney Town Speedway for some rumble racing. And we are of course going to do every single track because I want to show these off, and obviously we haven't done it with Aqua yet and it just makes sense. And I mean, there are only 4 courses, so gonna make sense to show them off. And I will say, of the 3 mini games, rumble racing is probably the one that I find to be the most fun. And I think that's because there is a bit more of an element of skill. Well, I mean, there's skill involved in all the others, but it just feels like I feel like it works a little bit more. There's a bit of violence in getting to take on your enemies. There is a bit of an annoyance in the rubber banding that takes place, but generally, if you do very well at taking down enemies as you go, then and take the shortcuts, then really they don't stand much of a chance of getting past you. So the main way that you're going to succeed in rumble racing is going through as many booster rings as possible, as well as avoiding the tornadoes and taking all of those shortcuts. If you start the race at the right moment when the go appears, so pressing X at that moment, you get a speed boost, as with, you know, most kart races. That's a pretty standard thing. And whenever you see locked on or danger at the bottom of the screen, that's when you sort of want to press triangle to defend yourself, because that's when you can bring out your barrier, which is quite helpful. It can be a little bit difficult to time it, but I think the general gist is if you see danger or locked on, just press triangle and hope for the best. Every now and again you will find some shields throughout the tracks. If you can pick them up, they're really helpful because they'll protect you from racers and from tornadoes. And also the shields hurt other racers on contact, so they're very helpful with that. If you're playing as Terra or Ven trying to do this, if you lock onto another racer and attack successfully, you gain a temporary speed boost, which obviously can be very helpful for getting further ahead in terms of attacking your foes. But obviously Aqua doesn't have the speed boost, but she does have a longer range attack to compensate, so there is a balance there. But pretty much you want to be just murdering everybody as you go, kind of braking to effectively drift around corners quite tightly. That's how you want to go about that. And yes, you effectively want to get a top 3 finish, but because, you know, I'm particularly stubborn, I wanted victory, goddammit. So we're going for gold in all of these races, because I need something to show that I have some level of skills. So if you beat Country Chase in the top 3, you will get a high potion. Not great, but hey, it's there. Disney Drive, which is what we're doing right now, you will get a Fire Dash. Grand Spree, you will get a Roa. And if you beat the Castle Circuit, then you will get the Victory Line Keyblade, which is great. And I believe that Castle Circuit was introduced in the original Western release of Birth by Sleep, and then in the Final Mix version as well, which brought it up to a total of 4 racetracks. And I will say that they do progressively get more difficult. As you can see, my run here was not the smoothest possible, but I am going to pull this back and I will be victorious. We're on the first lap, and as long as, you know, I don't completely screw up that shortcut in future, should be alright, I feel. because it really does take off a lot of time. But it's just something that you have to get used to. One of the things that is quite fun though is that, well, it's not necessarily fun, because if you want to complete everything in Birth by Sleep, you're going to have to play all of these multiple times if you want to get everything, because you're going to have to get top 3 in all of them in Disney Town, but then you also have to get the target time in the Mirage Arena on all of them. And the target times are actually quite difficult. The general thing is you can't really get hits in any of the runs. You have to hit every speed booster and just really not screw up, because for Country Chase you have to get it under 2 minutes 30. Disney Drive you have to get it under 5 minutes. Grand Spree you have to get it under 5 minutes, and Castle Circuit you have to get it under 5 minutes 30. And yeah, it's not easy to get those times. But what I will say is I'm very proud of the fact that I did actually manage to get all of those times in the Mirage Arena. So I have actually got that lovely little accolade on my report for Aqua. Nobody else, because obviously I haven't done it with everybody else because I'm just really lazy. But I've got it there, and there is proof that I can do it. So I am sticking with that, and it will make me happy. Now I will say, Disney Drive is probably not my favourite of the tracks, largely because it's very difficult to actually dodge all of the tornadoes, especially the one that you pretty much consistently run into every time I've been on a lap. Because it's just really, really easy to get hit by, because you're generally going so fast. These Keyblade gliders do not move brilliantly in terms of their handling. So it's very much a case of, yeah, no, really don't like this, because yeah, you go up here and get that booster, and generally by the time you're down you're gonna run into it. I think I just managed to avoid it there, but it was really close. But come on, we are nearly there on race number 2. And funnily enough, I'm actually going to get it in under the 5 laps in 5 minutes time. Nice. You see, it started off terribly, but I managed to pull it back in there, which is nice. And now let's go straight into the Grand Spree. Pretty much all of them get longer, and they do all, slightly frustratingly, up until Castle Circuit, explore very similar areas. The key difference with Grand Spree is that you're effectively doing the Disney Drive track backwards with a few extra bits and bobs, which I suppose is quite fun, but as you can see, you end up kind of looping over a certain bit as you go through the town. And actually, now that I'm remembering, it might end up being Grand Spree where I just missed out on the target time in this particular rendering. I mean, at this moment in time, I wasn't too bothered about getting those target times. It was very much more, I just want my first place, thank you very much, and that will make me happy. This is also a particularly difficult one to avoid the tornadoes in, because you just pretty much ramming right into them. And they are just always so close to you. Yeah, it's definitely this one where I just could not manage it. Until, you know, I was doing the Mirage Arena and I'd sort of fully mastered the delight that is the way the key-based guide is controlled. And it was pretty much almost... It was playing a lot of Castle Circuit, because in Castle Circuit you really do have to master your turning capabilities, because otherwise you just end up completely screwing yourself over. Yeah. What you basically want to do in this track is you want to get that sort of first boost jump pad thing, because that will then give you a shield which you can then use to just burst your way through that initial tornado that you're going to run into, because you can't avoid it unless you have that shield. So really that's what you effectively need to go for. But I don't know why, but the AI was being really aggressive to me in this particular race. I don't know why. They were just really aggressive. I think they just wanted me dead because I'd been doing such a good job of winning. And they were just like, no, you know what? This guy must die. It is also partially down to that whole rubber-banding thing that I was telling you about, because, yeah, if you get too far ahead, the AI does zoom up to try and catch you, which is always sort of one of the worst bits of AI in racing games, because you're just like, guys, seriously, that is not fair. But, hey, these things... They do happen, and they can be dealt with. I mean, this video is proof that they can be, and actually I hope it's also sort of proof that the Rumble racing can be actually quite a lot of fun. It's not perfect, it's like arguably just really simple, slightly crap Mario Kart, but apart from that, there's still just a bit of fun with it. The music's quite delightfully upbeat. I'm quite happy with that. And hey, it's something that the Kingdom Hearts franchise hadn't done up to this point. So it was just something a little bit different. I mean, I remember when I played it on the PSP, I really did not like it. And I think that was in part because the PSP as a controller just was not really all that satisfying to use. I really was not a big fan of the PSP at all. There was just that control stick, the lack of a second analog stick also did not help it at all. And yeah, it just wasn't really all that comfortable to play with. And oh god, I didn't get the shield, so that's gonna end well there. Yep, there we go. But we're still leading. We can still do this as long as, you know, nobody decides to rapidly catch up to me in this final stretch. I should be okay. And cool, yeah, sort of full 10 seconds off the target time. But hey, as I said, that wasn't the purpose of this. The purpose was win. And I am damn well going for that. So there we have Aurora something I've always struggled with pronouncing. But here we go with the castle circuit, which was the one that was added, I believe. And this is clearly the one that had a lot more work put into it, because this is like completely different to all of the other tracks, and it's really fun and really exciting. Because you're going through the halls of Disney Castle, you're going through the gummy ship hangar, going through the gardens. It's great, I love it. But there are a number of very tight turns that are just really difficult to make. Essentially what you want to happen is you want to be able to hit that ramp and go straight down into it, rather than taking this longer route. But actually managing to hit that is easier said than done. So effectively you don't want to fall down onto this lower path, because it is going to take you on a much longer route around the course than what everybody else is going to take. And obviously with you not moving all that quickly doesn't help. But there are a number of speed boosters here, so if you do happen to fall down here, you aren't completely screwed over by it. But as you can see, it does put you at a distinct disadvantage going forward. But we are hopefully going to very quickly rebuild that lead, because as you can see, you get into that one and you immediately cut out quite a chunk of the track. And annoyingly I fell down again, but it's okay, we're still in the game, we can still do this. But pretty much what I would recommend doing, it's the way that I got the time that I did in the end on the Mirage Arena, is you sort of want to go over to that far side, and even if you end up hitting into the wall, it's a much safer thing than going down here. You want that top route, because as you can see, it puts you a lot further ahead than if you end up falling. But if you manage to get that initial jump, then you are already ahead. If not, it doesn't necessarily matter, just as long as you are consistent in terms of your routing through the track. And actually, you know, getting this particular path is okay, because you end up like just behind your enemies, you can't fall off the back there, so that's why I would pretty much recommend doing that, because then it's also pretty simple to just turn around all of these, and then you get the boost pads here, which will get you going quite nice and fast. And if you hit all of those, then also make sure to hit these up here. Yeah, you're pretty much in first, and the AI really struggles to catch up to you on that. So if you can hit that ramp consistently and just take this particular route, whether that is by going through that side or making the jump over, just go with that. Because you will finish this race so much more quickly. And while it then can get a little bit samey perhaps, it's definitely the most exciting course of all of Rumble Racing, and it's the one that after a while I definitely had the most fun with, because it was just like, oh, this is all different, slightly exciting, it's not the same track I've been doing for the past like 10-15 minutes, which is what had been happening. but as you can see, actually, the AI is really struggling to rubber band at this point, and I think it's because while there is a rubber banding AI thing in effect, they can't completely go outside of what their initial means are, so they can't zoom stupidly far ahead if that isn't within capability. So, I mean, you can see he's catching up with me now, but there are speed boosters, so it sort of makes sense that that can happen. But as long as, you know, I hit my speed boosters, there's no way in how they can win, and I am victorious! And because of that, I'm getting my victory line Keyblade. Delightful. There we go. Beautiful. And with that, we are done with Rumble Racing. Great! It's not a great Keyblade. I wouldn't recommend using it, but hey! Free Keyblade. I will take that and get that a little added into my my minigame thing. And that's, yeah, that's the thing of telling you times. I did pretty well in the grand scheme of things. But we have one minigame left to go. And yeah, that is Fruit Ball, so delightful. Let's get on with that right about in the next part.